So I'm looking for other reviews on YouTube, and it's already Sunday, and I'm just not finding any. So, am I the first one? Cool. What is up, Netflix fans? Welcome back to my channel. There's a brand new series on Netflix from Turkey, and that is Love 101, or Ask 101, the alternate title. Today we're going to talk about it. I need you in the comments section down below. How did you feel about this show? Were you looking forward to it? And do you want to see more Netflix reviews? I do them every single Friday and Saturday. If you enjoy this review, be sure to hit that thumbs up button. So in Love 101, we are set in 1990s Turkey. It's a group of teenage outcasts that band together to make their beloved teacher fall in love so she'll have a reason to stay in town with them. What an interesting concept. And I was hesitant mostly because this series could have went one of two ways. It could have been so cheesy and so ridiculous and just so not funny, in the same vein of some other Netflix romantic / comedic shows that we've gotten that are coming of age stories. Or it could have been slightly inventive, entertaining, and full of relationships that we care about. And thankfully, it veered more into the second category. I genuinely got more out of the show than I was expecting. Even though it's 8 episodes and every episode's around 40 minutes long, it doesn't feel like you're in it for that long. One, because it captures the time period, the 90s, oh so well. It almost felt like a 90s show at times. And in the first episode, you're starting out, and I'm going to be flat honest with you, I didn't love the pilot. I thought it moved a bit too slow, and I was still trying to get used to the feel of the world, because every show in this vein has to establish a tone at the beginning and stick to that tone. And while this show slightly does that, I felt as if the rest of the episodes, other than episode 1, were just kind of firing on all cylinders compared to episode 1, where you're first getting established into this world. But once we get into the thick of things, into this actual plot, that's when it really started to take off for me. So you have this group of misfits, and they are the definition of misfits, and they're in detention together. So a bit of a Breakfast Club vibe we got going on here. And while that's going on, the school staff decides whether or not this group of kids should be expelled. The only vote in their favor is a teacher who ends up getting transferred to another school, and that's because the principal of the school is determined to get these kids out of here. And because they had a vote in their favor, their expulsion is now canceled. So here's where the interesting part of the show comes in, and something that I wasn't expecting. The students devise a plan to get that teacher to stay. And while that's happening, every student is pretty much going through a major catharsis, and this is kind of forcing them to learn the importance of being themselves. Who am I? Growing up in this crazy world. They're forming relationships. They're starting to maybe come around in a way that you don't expect when you're first meeting them. And of course, when this starts out, you're going to have the stereotypes of the genre. That's just the way it is with a comedic and romantic show. And I keep saying that because it's not necessarily a romantic comedy. When I say romantic comedy, you think of something specific, and that doesn't necessarily fit into what this is doing for the YA genre, what this is doing for this coming-of-age feeling story. But where this show actually started to get me on board was the further you get into it, and the more you learn about these characters. You're not just looking at a bunch of spoiled, rotten kids who are doing this for the wrong reasons. What is actually happening behind the scenes? Sure, they seem laid back and chill and cool in real life, but every individual story that we dove into is something that I think a lot of people are going to relate to, and they're all different, and it peels back the layers of what you see on the outside. And that's, I think, really important in a show like this, and important for a show that comes from Turkey. I mean, this is what I think Sex Education is for Britain, what I think Elite is for Spain. I think Love 101 is going to be that for Turkey. It's just one of those series that it encapsulates everything it's going for. It captures the time period, like I said, the 1990s. It's a difficult time period to capture perfectly. And I wouldn't use the word perfectly. There are definite issues, and like I said, most of the characters fit into their genre tropes, but they expand upon those things, and you learn more about them. And once the relationships start to develop, and listen, I've been on Twitter, all right, I've already seen the fan edits of one particular couple that starts to develop, and you're just like, all right, I do feel that way. I am rooting for these two. And it kind of immerses us into a culture that maybe is uncommon to some. It showcases a very Turkish way of living, which in its own way is similar to how most of us live around the world. And that is the showcase of love and what it means to showcase that towards each other. And this show does a great job of portraying that in a very positive, maybe not at all times, but a very positive light. But it's like the deep dive into why are these 5 kids acting out? Why are they being the way that they're being, which is to some irresponsible and slightly ridiculous and kind of like, okay, this show is going in the direction that maybe I expected. But once you get into that deep dive of the 4, I said 5, but the 4 misfits and why they are acting the way that they're acting, that's when you get deeper. That's when you can't help but to love every single one of them, sympathize with them, understand what they're struggling with. You get a peek into that down-to-earth drama that a lot of people are going to be able to relate to, and I'm sure plenty of you watching are going through similar things, and you also have this meaningful relationship between the 5 main characters, between the 4 misfits, between everyone involved within this show. Now, everyone involved may not be the best of people, but you get a light shown on that. Also, I loved the musical choices in this show. It adds a lot, and it only enhances that feeling you're getting while these characters are, dealing with their insecurities, accepting love. Some of them are getting over abandonment. You have peer pressure. You have all of these things that kids are going through growing up nowadays, and they're all showcased within this show. And sometimes it's underneath a scene that may be a bit overly cheesy, underneath a relationship that may come off as a bit shoehorned, and you're going to have to accept some of those things. Like I said, this isn't a perfect show. There were a few times within the script where I said this could have been developed a bit more. This could have been a character that we should be caring more about, but maybe we're not getting to that point. So it's not going to work for everyone, for sure, and not everyone's going to feel the same way that I do, because you may watch this and be like, it's just another teen coming-of-age story. But in my opinion, it gets so deep, and it pushes past those levels that maybe you don't expect it to push past, and there are layers to this show and the relationships. And all of those things were shocking to me, but I enjoyed myself. Count Love 101 as a surprise for me, and I can't wait to see what you all have to say in the comments down below. Like I said, if you enjoyed this video, hit that thumbs up button, and I'm going a 70%, a 7 out of 10 for a good show, one that's worth watching, one that I think is going to hit the audiences, and I can't wait to see what you all have to say. So thank you so much for watching. Let me know if there's anything that dropped on Netflix or Amazon or HBO that you'd like to see me review. I appreciate everybody for watching. #Love 101. Yeah.